Hello, I'm your host Joe Peter and welcome to Street Talk on the Internet Relay Chat. The Internet Relay Chat, or IRC for short, is a very popular online chat program which allows users from all across the world to communicate with one another. People use the IRC to get to know other people, and they can use it up to several hours a day. IRC-based relationships is now a rising trend among users. In the past, personal contact and the gradual development of a relationship took precedence. Now, however, quick fixes over the net seem to dominate. This week, we shall be examining whether a relationship which has its roots in the IRC, with two people sitting at their individual terminals, trying to get to know someone they barely know, legitimate and mutually beneficial. I have with me this morning three guests. First, we have Mr. Sam Kuna, the Associate Director of Teen Challenge, who has had about 15 years' experience with youth. He has also held seminars and talks on boy-girl relationships, or BGR as we all know it nowadays. Next, we have Ms. Janice Sim, who is a frequent user of the IRC and is currently involved in a relationship herself. And last but not least, we have Mr. Gary Teo, also a frequent user, but is quite against the development of relationships over the internet. Now, Sam, briefly, what are some of the common problems of boy-girl relationships?
I see boy-girl relationships as an opportunity for two people to develop a friendship in a casual social situation, and then to progressively get to know each other, and then grow in that kind of a opportunity to check each other out.
So checking each other out would include physicality.
Yeah, I think physical contact helps two people to ascertain what they are picking up in terms of vibes from each other.
So then, why do you suggest that IRC relationships are a rising trend?
I think the IRC relationships gives an opportunity for individuals to project a part of them that with a nickname or in anonymity, they can project sort of a pseudo-personality and decide for themselves how much they want to reveal.
All right. Janice, now, do you agree with what Sam has just said?
Yes.
Of anonymity. When did you start using the IRC then?
February last year.
February last year, and what were your reasons for doing so?
Well, basically, I feel that using the IRC, it's a outlet for stress relief for myself, because coming back from a long, tiring day at school, you find people in IRC having the same problems as you, and complaining about themselves as well. So in a way, it's an outlet for your frustrations.
So you relate to other people on the net?
Yeah.
Gary, do you agree with what Sam said about hiding behind anonymity?
Partly yes. Yes and no, actually. Right. I mean, I agree with Sam for saying that people use nicknames to as a mask to cover up their real, true personalities, and I think that in a way it's good, in a way it's bad. See? Because sometimes people take the mask as ways of expressing maybe their own introverted feelings that they can't express when you see people face to face. But for me, on the other hand, I feel like it also means where people can commit what they call it a lot of false acts, like what they call it, child molesters.
So when did you start using the IRC, Gary?
3 years back.
3 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think of it? And what is your main purpose of using the IRC?
Well, initially I used it because I was curious about what IRC was all about when I first got my computer. But after a while, I found out that it wasn't for me, because I admit I'm quite prejudiced against it, as I'm a more, face-to-face person, you see.
You're a face-to-face person.
Yes. I simply cannot find anything to talk about once I log on to a chat room, and everybody just saying things that I just cannot comprehend. You see?
So, but how come you've been on it for the past 3 years?
No. I wasn't on it for the past 3 years.
Oh,
I first logged on 3 years ago.
you logged on first 3 years ago. Sorry
And,
about that.
For the last 3 years, I logged on only 3 times. Okay, that's it.
Okay, Janice, then after hearing what Gary has said, what can you say about your multiple relationships on the net? Can you tell us about your relationships over the net?
Most of them are platonic relationships. I believe IRC is just basically for making new friends and keeping up with your friends, let's say from school, those who have IRC and go back at home to IRC. So it's just friendship-wise, you know. Relationship has got nothing to do with it.
So most of them you say are platonic or have been platonic.
Yeah.
Okay, Gary, why are you against the development of relationships on the net then?
Well,
Because
if
you can just end up being just as platonic friends as Janice has, what's wrong with that?
okay, I'm not exactly against the idea of finding your, let's say, true love on the internet, because I mean there are people who got married after finding their partners or that. But what I'm concerned about is that people might use the internet as a means, as a substitute for socializing in real life.
Sorry, just to rewind a little. You say you've known of people who've gotten married after
Yes.
meeting on the net.
Yes.
I see. Anyone you know personally?
Well, not personally. It's like more a friend's friend kind of thing.
Seeing as you're totally against the development of relationships on the net.
Well, okay lah. I mean, I did it in a rather, what's called it, perverse way. In a way, was that I logged on the net, right? And I logged on as it's a female nickname, you see. And you can imagine the kind of reactions I get.
What were these reactions then? Don't mind elaborating, sorry.
Let's say they were sort of the more, what do you call it, graphically descriptive varieties. You see. And I was quite put off, you see, because I find that if I can do this on the net, I mean, other people can do the same thing also, alright? And on the net, not on the net, on the IRC itself, you have one nickname and that's it. You don't know who you are, what you are. Some people like it for anonymity, but for me, I find that it's dangerous because you don't know what kind of person you're dealing with.
So you're telling me that you went on under a female nickname.
Yes.
Did you have any intent? What was your intent of doing so?
My intent, okay, previously I logged on once, okay, as a normal, as my own self, and I found that there's nothing not worth talking about. Then I changed strategies as well. The second time around, I used a female nickname to go in to find out. I mean, are guys on IRC really that? No, none of them can be quiet.
Okay. Then Janice, Gary has outlined the bad side of the IRC. Can you tell us of any good sides?
Well, like I
Good.
said, I think it's a place where you meet friends, new people. Well, it depends on individuals. If you
What
want to,
differentiates your friends on the net from those whom you've known in school or from childhood?
I think net friends are just net friends. You know, you just talk about general things. It's like
Immediate matters.
Yeah,
is it?
immediate matters. Like if you're really bored at home and no one to call, and IRC is one way you can chat to people. Whereas if you have individuals like Gary who uses female nicks, I think that's quite weird.
Okay. Alright, Sam, now you've heard what Janice and Gary have had to say
Yeah.
about the pros and cons of such relationships. What do you have to say?
I think there are three levels that I hear them speaking. And one is intellectually, when you get on the IRC, what are you thinking about? What, as an individual, what is your disposition towards that kind of communication? Because sometimes, okay, the second level is the emotional. If you're feeling lonely or you're feeling down or stressed out, you may want to just log in with your friends, not log in with a stranger. And I think the other danger, the other aspect is the personal. And the personal is if there is something like, you know, you have this curiosity of wanting to use a female nickname, or you want to go into a private chat room one-on-one with someone specifically, then it can, develop into almost a perverse kind of a conversation, because then
not
your
helping
personal
much.
agenda would not be read by the other person, and that can lead to some emotional tangle.
I'd like to add something here, which is my most, main stand on this issue, and that is, I'm very concerned about IRC replacing interhuman interactions, you see.
Yeah.
Because some people might, like I said before, use IRC as a substitute for communicating with real people, face to face. Because what our society, what our life is based on is interacting with people every day in real life. Talking to you in the eye, shaking your hand, hearing your
Yes,
voice.
yeah.
If we develop to the stage where we use the IRC to communicate with each other, even telling simple things like bring my food down from upstairs from second floor.
You forget totally about normal communication. People, humans. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Janice, do you know of any people who've been seriously hurt, or have you been seriously hurt through such a scenario?
I do know of people who have been seriously hurt through such a scenario, not personally.
Mhm.
Yeah, they get very disillusionized with IRC. So after a while, I believe everybody goes through the same stage. You find IRC at one point very addictive, and later on you find it that people could abuse the system. So it
But
depends
aren't
on
all users generally addicts? No.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Now, Sam, how do you suggest we help these people who've been hurt or betrayed or deceived, as you use?
I think if there can be more literature that suggests to those who log on to IRC to take a more light-hearted approach, and if I think communication, to talk about issues, to de-stress, to keep communication at a general level, I think that'd be fine. Again, it depends on the personal agenda. If someone is looking for a relationship, I think there are other ways, other avenues to look for a relationship. Then, to allow a relationship to be triggered or emotions to be triggered through the IRC chat without having ways to ascertain the identity or clarify or meet face to face with the person first.
Okay. Now, what are some precautions you advise people who are, let's say, not so much seeking a relationship, but have the intent, at least a bit of it? What do you advise them to do? Precautions.
Precautions. I think firstly to know what the IRC is about before they even log in. It may be interesting at first. I think to know that there are the IRC has been around for a long time, and there are people who have been hurt. I think they just have to check into some of those
With other people.
the websites that do reflect some of those situations.
Now, Gary, Janice, any last few words? Because we're running out of time, I'm afraid.
Please, Janice, you go first.
No, last year.
How about those who? How about from you, Gary?
That's all I can say is, be careful whom you meet. I'm not being paranoid. I'm just safe.
Okay. Now, most people chat on the IRC in the name of fun. Long-term friendships may develop, ideas exchange and problem solve. These may be cyber romances, which may lead to an exchange of phone calls and then even photographs. The couple may even decide to meet. If all goes well, the relationship may continue. Some people have experienced major disappointment simply because the person, when they meet, does not live up to the expectations, as we've discussed this morning. And the danger about the IRC is that there is no way of knowing the true identity of the person and their true intentions. So in a nutshell, have fun, but take caution. I'm afraid that's all the time we have this morning. I would like to thank our three guests, Sam, Janice, and Gary, for sharing their views with us. Till next week, I'm your host, Joe. Goodbye.